Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of Embracing the Moment. We're picking up where we left off in our previous episode with our guest Jason Berry. Last week we looked at developing a weight loss plan, and that was with you and Pastor Bob. And tonight you have me, yours truly.
I got you tonight.
Pastor Joe. So a discipleship pastor, host for Embracing the Moment. If you're new with us, if you are just tuning in for the first time, I would encourage you to check out the first few episodes of this series we're doing on wellness. But we're just going to go ahead and jump in here.
Let's launch into it, yeah.
Jason, you're going to help me develop a plan to increase muscle strength for maximum and optimum ability here. So help me out, because you can tell I need it.
So everyone's goals are different, you know. So like last time we were talking about weight loss, but you don't really need to lose any weight. You're in a good spot.
I can't afford to lose any.
So I get that too. I mean, I weigh 150 pounds. I'm not trying to lose weight in my workouts, and that's where you find what works for you.
Sure.
So for you, one of your goals might be, okay, I want to increase my maximal strength.
Absolutely.
And the workout's different. So an analogy I'll use, let's say we take Usain Bolt.
Okay. All right.
At least I don't know about he wasn't the last Olympics, but for a long time he was the fastest man.
He lives up to his name.
Yeah, he's a Bolt. He's a lightning. So he could run a marathon. He could do it. But he's not going to beat an Olympic marathon runner.
No, he's a sprinter.
He's not.
Yeah,
he's a sprinter. So. And an Olympic marathon runner could run a sprint, but they're not going to beat Usain Bolt.
No.
So because you tailor your training towards your individualized goals.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So strength is very different than weight loss. So for strength, okay, when we work out, weight loss, we had that fast intensity, one right into the next.
That's right.
Strength training's different. We actually want rest in between our sets.
Okay.
So because each time we do it, we want maximal exertion on that, and we want to be doing heavy weights. So before we were doing lightweight, high repetitions. We were more in the 12 to 20 range, which is still building muscle. It's going to build muscular endurance.
Gotcha.
Okay, just like in the military, we did a lot of body weight training. And I got really good at push-ups. And praise God, I could do 100 push-ups in 2 minutes. Still can.
You're flying through it. Okay.
And but when I would bench press, I could just bench my weight.
Okay.
And that's where I was. I was benching about 150, which is good, but not awesome. And I wanted to get better at that.
Yeah.
And you would think, well, I'm working that muscle group all the time. That's what push-ups is.
Right.
That's not going to help my max strength. It's helping my muscular endurance.
Gotcha.
To get the max strength, what I had to do is start benching heavy weight.
Okay.
So now, let's say I could only get 150 2 times.
Right.
That could be a set. Okay, that's not a good set for weight loss. For strength training, for max strength, your set should be around 3 to 7 or 8 reps.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if I'm going over that, I'm tailing a little more towards hypertrophy or towards endurance.
Hypertrophy.
Hypertrophy is...
What is that?
That's a crazy word. Hypertrophy is size. Okay. So bodybuilders are going to train in the 8 to 12 repetition range.
Okay.
Because they just want size. Maximal strength, 3 to 6. I'm after results. I'm after that, my max bench going up.
All right.
So I started doing that, and I got stay at it. You keep sewing into it, keep working on it. I now can bench about 265, but I still weigh 150. So my weight has stayed the same, and I can still do the push-ups, but my max strength jumped up. Now, if you're doing that type of workout, you can still burn out at the end of the workout and do your high repetitions.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I didn't want to lose my push-ups. Worked hard for that. So I'm going to start off high rest in between sets. After I do my first set of I do a warm-up set, and then I'm going heavy. Something I can only do once or twice.
Okay.
Then I'm going to rest 2 minutes. Now I'm going pretty heavy again. Maybe I can do 4 or 5 reps. I'm going to rest another 3 minutes. This is not for weight loss. This is strength.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go after again. And I'm going to go to the next muscle group, depending on what I'm doing. So maybe I did chest. Now I'm going over and I'm working biceps. And I could go back to chest later in the workout. That's fine. And do more of the burnout, higher repetitions, lower weight. The key is that I got some of my sets with absolute maximal force. And allowed my body to recover and do maximal force again.
Gotcha.
And that's where you're actually going to see the maximal strength start to grow. And then it's just like before, you use progression and you use overload. So once I get used to that, now I can do 7-8 reps. It's time to bump up the weight.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And
so is that what you mean by overload?
Yeah, so the overload principle is doing more than your muscle fibers are used to, because they get accustomed to it.
Okay.
And we spoke a little
you gotta
bit.
break them down to build them up?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like tearing a piece of paper. After a good workout, your muscle fibers should look like completely distorted and broken all over the place. Like destroyed, absolutely destroy those muscle fibers. And then they'll get better. So if you're only, just going through the motions and doing the same thing, you're not going to get great results. And same as a believer. If you're just staying where you're at and you're not pushing and going after God, like you seek him, you find him. You draw near to him, he'll draw near to you. It's covenant, it's spiritual law.
Yeah.
And the same is in your workouts. So you have to keep overloading those fibers and progressing up. So.
Okay. All right. So for me in this stage of life, I have 3 little ones at home, 3 under 4.
Challenges.
Busy. I'm working on a postgraduate degree in ministry full time. So I've got a lot
of blessings.
A lot on my plate, but
phenomenal.
a lot of exciting things happening, right?
That's a lot of blessings.
And I can tell you as far as where I'm at in this season of life with exercise, some of the things that you just described, I was able to do for a season back at the very end of high school. I was working out with some guys on the football team, and that's actually when I got the little bit of muscle gain that I still have.
They're focusing on strength and acceleration and power.
Exactly. And that's what it was. And that's what it was. And so in this season of life that I find myself in, my approach has kind of been, well, doing something is better than not doing anything for me.
Yes.
And so I feel it if I go a couple of days without doing, even if it's just 20 minutes of exercise, if I don't do that, I feel so lethargic. I don't sleep as well. And so my plan, kind of my informal plan, it's really nothing written down, which is probably challenge number 1, right? Because it's important to track your goals and set them.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
So hopefully we can get to that later on. But right now, kind of my informal plan is 2 to 3 days a week, I'm running a couple of miles. And then 2 to 3 days a week, I'm really trying to focus on body weight exercises. So push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, just anything that I can do right in my home.
You're working 6 days a week.
5 to 6 days a week.
5 to 6.
But only for about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. So
just because of time.
With that, that's phenomenal. That's excellent. You are burning a lot of calories. So your resting metabolic rate is probably really high, which means along with the workouts, you're going to really have to eat enough protein for your body to build. So that's going to be a big thing for sure, is getting enough protein in, whether it's shakes, whether it's tuna and chicken, Greek yogurt, getting enough protein and enough calories where your muscles can build. So otherwise, you're shortchanging them. They want to build, but they can only build so much. Okay. So what I would change about your workouts, because the running's good too. We're working on our heart, which is really important. That's going to help your heart actually has muscle. A lot of people don't know that.
Really? I learned something new.
It has cardiac muscle. Okay. When you work out, your stroke volume increases, the amount of blood that you can push out per stroke, and which means your resting heart rate goes down. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard anymore, which is why when you're running, it's not beating as fast.
You gotta keep increasing the intensity.
Yeah, same thing. Right. Progression. Yeah. So your heart got more efficient at pumping out blood, and same with your lungs. They get more efficient at taking in oxygen. Your volume of oxygen, your VO2 max goes up. That's really important, especially for long-term health. Okay, so that cardio is good. I wouldn't take any of that away. Okay, but you're gonna have to eat enough calories, and in your strength workouts. Okay, I love the body weight stuff. I love the pull-ups. I love that. You're going to have to add in those heavy weights. Okay. And just start your workout there. And what I would do, if you have a family, this is what I do. Because there's rest in between those sets, right?
Yeah, right.
Come on down. Do your first set of bench or whatever it is. And then go and change out the laundry. Yeah. Go and do something for 2 minutes.
Time, so that's you're speaking my language.
Go and knock something out real quick. Now come back. Knock out another set. You're fully recovered. You can hit it nice and hard.
And you said like 2 to 3 minutes in between those sets?
Like 2 minutes. Okay. I want to go. You don't really need over 2 minutes. Okay. But when you're doing that heavy weight, you really do need like 2 minutes. And then as the workout goes, that comes down a little bit. So now I just need a minute. in between. But start out with, when you're doing that heavy weight, let yourself rest and recover. And so go do a couple tasks and then move on to the next muscle group, whether it's biceps or triceps or whatever you're going to do, and hit those heavy weights. And then towards the end of the workout, keep what you're doing. I would burn out that way.
Okay.
Because we want to fully...
With body weight,
I mean, that helps fully exhaust the fibers. We had to hit them for that max strength, but now you can fully exhaust them. And when you're doing the max strength, this is kind of crazy. A lot of people don't know this, but you're actually building a different type of muscle fiber. So on Thanksgiving, you know how there's dark meat and white meat on a turkey?
Yeah.
So they are two different types of muscle fiber.
Okay.
The difference in color is because of mitochondria. Like, one's more oxidative and has more of an aerobic capacity. When you work out, it's the same way.
Okay.
A cross-country runner, they have really skinny arms, right?
Yeah.
Their muscle fibers are designed to keep going and
just
going
longevity,
and going. Longevity.
Yeah, right.
They're aerobic in nature. A sprinter is type 2 muscle fiber, explosion, power, speed. You're born with a certain percentage of each.
Okay.
So you might...
So I was a sprinter in high school.
So you naturally you might be like, some people are naturally really good at distance running. Well, their muscle fibers, they might be 60% type 1.
Yeah, that was not me.
So that's okay. Type 2 is great too. It depends on your goals. But here's the thing, you can change the composition of your muscle fibers
depending on your workout.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if I want more of the explosion type. I want to be, you're thinking your football players, your basketball players, your sprinters, your bodybuilders. Type 2.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, right? With what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And so that's going to be the heavy sets, the heavy weight, with the lower repetitions where I'm failing on the 4th or 5th rep.
Wow,
and that's what's going to build the type 2 muscle fibers.
Okay.
And that's what I want. I can burn out at the end and exhaust them. That's fine. But when I'm fresh, I need to do that heavy weight to build the right type of muscle.
So when you're talking about at the end, if I'm continuing those body weight exercises, how many reps are you looking for at that? Or are you just maxing out on that?
Just go to failure.
You're just
just go to failure.
Okay.
So like, I wanted to keep my push-ups. So when I'm done with my benching and everything else, I'm just going to do a set of push-ups to failure.
Just go.
Pull-ups.
Okay.
Go to failure, because that's going to overload the muscles.
And when you do that, are you just doing one set to kind of cap that day's exercise out?
So for time management, rather than like at that point, I'm using my rest in between sets in the beginning. But at that point in the workout, I just want to finish out. So I'm going to do push-ups to burn out, and I'm going to go to biceps to burn out. And then I could go back and do one more set on push-ups or whatever. But like, what I don't want to do at the end of the workout is, I don't need the rest at that point.
Right.
I'm going to do it rapid fire.
Right.
And just get it done.
Okay.
And then move on.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So one other kind of caveat for me, as I'm exercising and I'm thinking about, okay, how do I develop this plan, is kind of most of my life, just the way that I'm physiologically structured, is I get a lot of challenges with my neck, and so I have to be extra sensitive and cautious with especially form. Even if I'm doing body weight exercises, I need to be really aware of my form, because I can throw my neck out pretty easily. So I mean, I'm sure you've encountered this before. This is probably nothing new for you.
Yes.
But yeah, so how might that kind of change or tailor the way that I develop this plan?
Sure. Okay, so let me ask you one thing right now. Does your neck hurt right now?
Oh, no.
You're moving it around, you can do all that?
Oh, yeah, all that, yeah.
Okay. Because if it hurt right now...
That's part of my daily, stretches and
Okay, because the first thing I do as a trainer, and as a believer, I'm going to pray over that thing.
Right.
And speak healing unto it in Jesus' name, because I have watched some crazy miracles. So, I mean, these are 2 torn ACLs, torn meniscus, completely healed, no surgery. I've seen tumors go down in Jesus' name. I've seen deaf ears pop open. I've seen
Jesus is really good.
He is. He's really good. And he's the same yesterday, today, and forever.
That's right.
And he's still a healer. And so the first thing I'm going to do is, even when I'm training people where they're like, oh, something hurts, let's pray. That's the first thing I'm going to do. But on top of that, within the workouts, you still need the wisdom component. So with stabilizing your neck, the biggest thing is that when you're doing your movements, all right, and now you have to be careful with this. You're going to have really good form. the tendency when you're doing heavier weights.
Yeah.
People want to, I'm benching it.
Yeah, right, because you're trying to compensate for just the heaviness of the weight that you're doing.
Yeah, it's got to be good repetitions. If you can't do a good repetition, that doesn't count. Drop the weight.
Okay.
So you can do the heavy weights, but make sure you have a good repetition. If it's something that's a little dangerous, make sure you have a spotter for bench press. That's a definite.
Yeah.
That's actually the most dangerous exercise in the weight room, is the bench press, because that's where most people get injured, or they're by themselves and the bar they can't get it off, and they clipped the weights so they can't de-rack it,
goodness.
And it can roll up or
good.
choke you. Not good. So you should have a spotter on that one, unless you know what you're doing and you know how to de-rack the weights. So having a spotter helps. The other thing is that you're nice and smooth with any of your things, so that you're not using your neck.
Right, because that's where you try to compensate.
Yeah, you're really gonna have to isolate.
Tightening down.
Isolate and be like, okay, whatever I'm doing, I'm focusing on just that muscle movement and not using my neck to help tense. And that'd be true for any type of injury, and focusing and you do what you can. If you can't do a ton of leg stuff yet, it's okay. You start with arms. You can still work on your heart that way. You start where you're at, and you start building things too. So if you have an area that's really injured, let's say that your shoulder always gives you problems. Okay.
Yeah, right. Because those watching, I mean, they might have a variety of challenges.
Of stuff.
Right.
That doesn't mean I can never do shoulder exercises.
Exactly.
That's not good. Right. We got to get that thing. We got to work on it. So, you pray over it, and then you can do exercises to rehab that shoulder, to start building those muscle fibers. That's going to be at very low weight. we're gonna build motions. You're gonna want to ease
into that, right?
Ease into that nice low weight. You're going, any muscles that are underactive, we're going to strengthen, and muscles that are overactive, we're going to stretch. Okay, so before you work out, based on and this is something a trainer would know, they could look at you and be like, well, if you have a forward lean, okay, then I need to work your abs and your hamstrings more to stand up more straight.
Because you're going to need more strength in order to do.
So I'm going to strengthen that, and I'm going to stretch the opposite, because something's a little overactive that's pushing me that way. So I'm going to I'm going to take a tennis ball and do a little SMR and do some stretching, some active stretching on that.
What does that stand for?
Self-myofascial release.
Okay.
Which is a crazy term for taking a ball or a pad and really massaging the muscles. It's actually a really good way to warm up. Olympic sprinters, professional athletes, if you ever see them rolling their legs, that's what they're doing. It's activating the muscles. That is better than a static stretch to warm up. For those of you that are watching, if you're warming up, you want to get the blood flowing a little bit. Okay, just like when the blood of Jesus is working, you're good. You got to get your blood flowing. Do a little movement first.
Okay.
Get the blood flowing, then do a static stretch.
Even maybe just a quick short run.
Quick short jog.
Not a sprint, but a jog.
Yeah, light shuffle, light back pedal, little. Now the blood's flowing, now you can stretch. If you do a static stretch, you're trying to get your maximal touching your toes.
Yeah. And
you're not warmed up. You're supposed to prevent injury with stretching. Instead, you created an injury. So you've got to warm up and allow your muscles and your Golgi tendons to release a little bit.
So static stretching more post-workout then?
Yes, absolutely. If you want to increase your flexibility, post-workout.
Okay.
That is the best time. Before the workout, we want to prevent injury. So the moving stretching is called dynamic stretching, which is also why you see football teams or teams warming up. They do the karaoke, they back pedal. That's active dynamic stretching, and it also helps with explosion and muscle fibers too. So any of those are called plyometrics.
Yeah, sure. I've heard. Familiar with that term. Okay. So for me, if I'm going to develop a plan to really increase that strength, optimizing that strength, what would you recommend as far as hey, here's a template. Monday do this, Tuesday this, Wednesday, etc. I know you've laid some of these pieces out in your book. Yeah. So, and some of this is still going to be preference. You'll get people to say it has to be this or has to be this. Okay.
So I'd have a couple of different ones. If you can only work out 3 times a week,
sure,
I would say go full body. Because when you work out, you might as well get everything. And people that like full body say that when you engage all the different muscle groups, it actually releases more growth hormone.
Oh.
So some
Okay.
people say that's the best.
Okay.
And if you can only work out a couple times, like time-wise,
Right, and that's kind of
do
my
that.
case, right?
Then
yeah,
I would
it's
go with that.
Shorter durations over, more
I
days
mean,
for
amount of
me.
days. If you
Oh,
can
you're
only
talking
do it
about,
3 or
okay,
4
I
days.
got you.
If you have a higher amount of days, you can isolate more.
Okay.
So you can really focus where today is just, biceps and back.
Gotcha.
And you just destroy them for 20 minutes. Just have, and go starting with your heavy weight and then burning out. And then you don't touch that for a little bit. You're maybe hitting that muscle group, just only twice a week.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
And you're building the other things. And that's called isolation, and that can work really well. My favorite personally is an upper-lower split,
Okay.
where Monday's just upper body, Tuesday's lower body. It's really simple. It's hard to mess up. It always gives me at least 48 hours for my muscles to recover.
That makes sense.
Because I'm not
It's
doing
important,
the same thing.
Right.
So I can do good strength training with it. And I'll add cardio kind of towards the end of my workouts.
Okay.
And that's a really good place to start. It's just an upper lower split, and always, never going over. You shouldn't be working out every day. At least taking Sunday off, or
Okay.
I probably do more like 5 to 6 days.
Okay.
For strength training.
And then for each of those days, are you looking at like a 45-minute or a 60-minute exercise? How duration wise per day? What would you be looking at?
For most people, you really don't need to go over 40 minutes.
Okay.
If you're working hard those 40 minutes.
Okay, that's
Hour, I would say, like max.
I'm
we don't
really
need
to hear that.
we don't need to do a 3-hour workout. At that point, your fibers are already exhausted. You gotta be a little careful. You can get to where, because they're exhausted, your form's not good. Injury could happen. You
Right.
could tear something.
Yeah,
so,
and I want to avoid that.
yeah. So I
And
would,
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
yeah. So I would say, you don't need to be working out over an hour, and if you can only work out 15 minutes, that is still effective. They have found if you do, especially from when we were back with the weight loss, even a 15-minute workout, if you go as hard as you can for those 15 minutes,
Right.
you will continue to burn through the day. And same for strength. Maybe if you can only get 10 minutes in, but you got your bench press in, you could still keep going up on your chest strength.
Okay.
So it is whatever you can get it in, try to be consistent with it.
So what I'm hearing for me, an adjustment that would help me to walk towards this direction of increasing that muscle strength would be I need to get some free weights in, some free weight exercises
help.
in, right?
Or what you could do, okay, let's say, and there's a lot of different ways to make this happen. Okay, if you're at home, you can just get resistance bands for $10, and
okay.
you can fold them up to make the resistance.
Like make it real
heavy.
taut, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so you could suddenly jump into max strength just with resistance bands, $10, and you can do all your things.
Okay.
For dumbbells, rather than get a full stack of dumbbells,
Right.
you can get the Bowflex ones have them.
Oh yeah. They got the
and you can
radial
change
dials
them.
on them.
Yeah, so now you just have 2, but suddenly you have all the weights that you need, and you
Okay.
can just switch them.
So quick question for you on that.
Yeah.
When we're looking at the free weights versus the resistance bands, is one gonna be more advantageous for gaining that
free
strength?
weights.
Yeah.
Free weights.
Yeah.
Because when you're lifting free weights, even at the gym, you know how they have machines for like even bench and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I'm thinking about that.
So-
where it kind of slides on the rack.
Free
Yeah.
weights are better because you have to, like say I'm doing shoulder press, I have to adjust. And that's called like proprioception. Like I'm making all these little muscle movements to adjust. And I'm working muscles I wouldn't work if I had the machine taking it for me.
Exactly right.
So it's
Okay,
more
that
than
makes-
just
that
the
makes sense.
shoulders.
That makes
There's
sense.
other fibers I'm hitting that you're missing with the machine. So free weights are wonderful if you want to do just the body weight exercises. Maybe you
Yeah.
don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Get a weighted vest, even if you're just putting a backpack on,
Okay.
right? And now push-ups, suddenly you can only do maybe you can normally do 20, 30 push-ups. Now
Sure,
you can only
yeah.
do 5 because of the
Whoa.
weight. You just turned it into a max strength workout.
Okay. That's
And
super
so-
helpful. Yeah. Super
Same
helpful.
with pull-ups. Now suddenly that's really hard, and so that's
Yeah.
an easy way. You could take your current workout and add a weighted vest,
Okay.
and it would start tailoring more towards strength.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to kind of go that route, because just stage of life, working out from home. I mean, that's gonna help me just in life. Like, something's better than nothing. Doing this is better than nothing. if I would go that route of a vest and doing this bodyweight exercise, the one thing that's been, well, the two areas that are probably especially challenging for me, even when I was in the gym back in high school working with the football players, is shoulders and chest.
Okay.
I have a lot of, so what are some specific exercises, let's say body weight, and if I could get some free weights, that you would say,
sure,
this will really help target those areas and help increase that muscle strength?
Okay, so let's start with chest. So for chest, push-ups, you know, if you don't have much else at home, that's your go-to right there.
Yeah.
So push-ups, and you can change them. So
right,
if you bring it in and do more of a diamond, that's going to work your tris. If you go out, that's working your chest more and actually your shoulders.
Okay.
So you could do that, and you can even lean towards one way and really work it more towards like a one arm. So that's push-ups are a great one for chest.
Okay.
Another good one for chest that's easy. You can do this at home with no weights. Put your arms together like this and go up and down. Go ahead and just feel that. Put your arms together.
Yeah.
Keep that together. Go up a little further though, all the way up as far as you can.
Oh,
but keep those elbows together.
All right.
Keep them together. Do you feel that right there in your chest?
Yeah.
So those are called prayer pulses. And so if you wanted to do that with some weights, take a medicine ball or a weight, like a 30-pound dumbbell, hold that.
And just like do that.
And go like this.
Dude, I feel that, right? Yeah,
you can
right?
feel that in your
yeah,
chest. So flies are another good one. So whether you're right here doing more of like the hulks, and you're coming out, or you're laying on a bench and you're bringing them in.
Because then you're going to get more range of motion.
Yep, nice range of motion.
Yeah.
And bringing them in, that's really going to work your chest. If you switch up the angle of bench, incline versus decline, we're going to work the pectoralis major, your chest muscle. You're going to hit more of the upper or the lower part of it and hit more muscle fibers again.
Okay.
And so like if your bench is really stuck, maybe add in some incline bench, some decline bench, and suddenly now you push past that plateau.
Okay.
For shoulders, so shrugs are really good.
And would you do that? You can do that with free weights?
You could do it with a bar too.
Okay.
That'd be fine. You could even practice, just doing nice rolling motions with them too, or just straight up. Your classic military press.
Okay.
Is definitely going to be, one.
And that's just straight up.
Yeah, just straight up. You can do even different ones. I love to do like a curl, even turn press.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep. So the biceps,
the corkscrews.
Yep. Your pull-ups, same thing. If you're in close, that's your tris. You want those shoulders
out wider,
and especially the back, which a lot of people miss the back, which is why the bench press and the pull-ups are so wonderful for your back. So do some nice wide, and that's really going to work your shoulders. You can even put your hands like this, almost like they're back against the wall.
Yeah.
Just go like this. Yeah. And you just stay there, and it's almost like you keep your hands against the wall as you're doing it. You're gonna feel that.
Oh, I feel it right
shoulders
now.
too. You can do, your lats, lateral raise, working back, but also working your shoulders.
Okay.
So lots of different things.
All right. And you kind of break a lot of this down in your book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have full home workout section in there, but then also like I have a specific strength training chapter. I have a cardio chapter. I have a weight loss chapter, and so you can with charts and things where you can pick what actually works for you. And,
all right.
And do it.
I have one more question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you talked at the beginning about protein, increasing protein, making sure I'm taking in enough calories. How do I go about figuring out what should be the intake of protein that I'm getting per day?
So
yeah,
if you're trying to gain muscle, very different than weight loss. You're trying to put on more of the bulk and the mass. Then I would actually go for at least your body weight in protein. I'd go up to 2 times your body weight.
Whoa.
So for me,
so in grams, you're saying?
In grams.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wouldn't ever go high. I weigh 150. So I shouldn't ever be like. 1.5s are pretty good. Like if I'm doing like 250 grams, that's wonderful. That'd be good for building bulk
per day.
Yeah, per day.
Okay.
Hey, get the kids involved in the workouts. That's a good way too. Make it a family thing. If you can build, we had one of my little nieces. Her name's Eden. So Eden, if you see this, you're awesome. So little Eden would work out with us. She would just come to her workouts with her mom.
Yeah.
When she was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And it built a love of fitness.
Nice.
She wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So she just works out. Now she's a beast. Like she can do a plank for like 7 minutes. She's a beast. She's only in like 4th, 5th grade.
All right.
And yeah, she's super strong. But you got the family involved.
Yeah.
And so now, like, oh, let's bring the kids in. I don't have to have my separate time.
What's funny, you
They're
talked
working
about
out with
a weight
me.
vest, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes my oldest he'll just
There
sit
you
on
go.
my back
Yes.
and do push-ups.
Yes, absolutely. Or you got a little baby. I mean, that's it.
Yeah,
they're
right.
having fun. You're getting your workout in.
Love it, man.
Yep,
I
that
love
works
it.
too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this is super helpful. Thanks for helping me to.
It's an honor to
begin
get
put
to
this
be here
together.
and help people out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so hope that this was encouraging for you as well. Maybe you have a friend or a family member that's coming to mind that you just want to share this with them. They can take some of the principles that Jason and I talked about in this episode and be able to share it, be able to implement it. And then lastly, I just want to encourage you guys with Jason's book, Christ-Centered Fitness. He's got, like you mentioned, chapters for each of these different aspects of exercise and working out. I know you talk about nutrition in there as well.
And the faith aspect with it.
Right.
So it's going to start...
It just undergirds everything, brings it all together.
Yeah, the reasons why. It's not just a couple scriptures thrown on some workouts. It actually is going to go deep. How do you win the battle inside your mind?
Right.
How do you apply faith to these workouts?
Yeah.
How do we win that battle of faith and have full assurance? And then, physically fit people in the Bible and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's why I so appreciate your work. And just being able to interact with you on it, you're so passionate about it, and it just bleeds through in your book as well. So
Thank you. I can tell you guys are passionate about Jesus and love of God. So it's an honor and it's wonderful to be here. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. We hope this was an encouragement to you. And if you have any questions, feel free to give us a shout. If you're watching on Facebook, you can just comment with any questions that you have. You can email us here at info@genesisyork.com. Jason, any point of contact for you that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so if you go to christcenterfitness.net, you can email me right there, just through my website. So if you guys have questions, I am happy to help you guys out. I'm on Facebook as well, Christ Center Fitness, Instagram.
Nice.
If you like the apparel, you can actually buy these online too.
Awesome.
So there's like sweatshirts and all kinds of stuff. They have Psalm 84 in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you go from strength to strength in Jesus. So, so lots of options. So
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll look forward to seeing you next week as we're continuing our series on wellness. Hope you have a great evening.